live. And what I'm going to do is just make sure we're live. And then what I'm also going to do is share this. So as you all are coming on, if you can just say hi, um, let us know that you are here. I'm going to refresh this. And I'm also going to share this on to, it's live. Okay, awesome. I'm also going to share this onto our group. Let's see. Lights. Hmm. Like you're all the way in the camera too.
Oh,
I feel
good.
like I'm like, let me go over some. I feel like I'm like halfway in. Are you on your phone?
No, on my computer.
Oh, okay, you're on your computer. I don't know why. Okay, now I'm perfect. Okay, awesome. All right, so I'm actually on. Okay, let me see. You know what? Okay, I just realized something. I had something done wrong. So
Okay.
I think we're good now. I edit my audience because it was only showing to me, which is
Oh,
weird, right?
right, right.
So, but now it's open to the public. So now I can actually share this onto the group. So we are on Christian women in business in Charlotte. Um,
Uh-oh.
all right.
Hmm. Let's see here.
All right, so I'm going to start out with introductions. Hello, everyone. I am Trina Boyd. I'm the founder of Women in Power. And on tonight, I have a special guest who is joining us on tonight. How are you, Miss Stevens?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good. So I do want to say Miss Stevens is actually going to be one of our speakers for our Friendsgiving this Saturday, November the 2nd. Also, I do want to point out that we only for the duration of this live, we will be doing a 2 for 1, so you can get a discount.
Right.
Basically, you get a ticket for free, and you can bring someone for free.
Mhm.
But only on this live you get that. And then I really just want you to start off by just telling us who you are.
So, well, first, I want to say thank you for inviting me and having me to share the information to everyone, which is definitely a goal and mission of mine. And my name is Carmelita Stevens. I'm a licensed cosmetologist, trichologist, and educator. And I'm located here in Charlotte, North Carolina. Um, we have built a mission statement to be able to rebuild, renew, and restore hair and scalp. So we focus in on those things at the salon.
Awesome. And I wanted to invite you on as a speaker specifically because I know a lot of women deal with hair loss
Mm-hmm.
and they need that, hair growth, tips on that. And one of the things I've learned on our last meeting was that you actually have an entire program on how to help someone,
Mm-hmm.
gain that growth back with their hair.
Right.
So what are some tips that you would like to give out? Let's give out some tips to
Mm-hmm.
someone who loves to wear braids or someone who loves to wear sew-ins. What are some tips you want to give out for that?
Oh, that's a good one. So I I always tell people that first, I commend how different people wear their hair, and that's fine. I just want you to be able to take care of it. So, if you are a braid wearer, here's the
Mhm.
first tip that I want you to do. If you don't already, I want you to begin to take breaks in between your braid sessions. And the reason being is because we take one session, like we'll have braids, we'll take that out, maybe cleanse our scalp or shampoo the scalp, maybe, and then we'll go right back into
Mhm.
another session, right? Well, the problem is we're not creating environment for the hair to continue to grow and thrive. And
Mhm.
those styles, even though they're very popular, they are not meant to last as long as we are making them last because of the price that we pay for them, right? And I get it. I get it. We invest in something and we want it to have longevity. However, this is some of the issues that result in having longer braid sessions. So after a period of time, the hair begins to break down because of the tension and the pulling, right? And then let's say your braider does great. They don't pull, they don't have tension. Wonderful. So now we use Kanekalon, or however you pronounce it, but a synthetic fiber with the hair, with the artificial hair or the extension hair, which dries our natural hair out. Because if something is synthetic, it is not real. And so the fibers that they use are like plastic like fibers, waxy like fibers. Oh, and do not get color, because if we get color, now we have even more substances or materials or whatever it is that they put on the hair. So we don't know what's on that hair, and then it's drying our hair out. And then we're not getting treatments in between. So if we would take a break, a week or two, and do a protein treatment or a moisture treatment, or a scalp treatment, and then allow the scalp and the hair to breathe, because another natural element that our hair and scalp needs is oxygen. So you have to give it a break. You have to allow it to breathe. And so those are the main important things when it comes to, wearing the protective styles that put us away for a little while.
Right.
We want to take breaks in between each session, and then you want to be careful with the materials that you're using to actually get the session. So I've been pushing for people to, I know it's more expensive, but human hair will be a better result to use when you do get your braids. There's a young lady out that has a black young lady that has come up with braiding hair that are made out of banana fibers. And so it is not so drying to our hair, and it's reusable. Right. So people are trying to come out with different things to help us, because we do see that there's an issue. Because outside of that, if you have a scalp issue and you're getting these braids, then you definitely want to be careful, because then that's just like a double whammy on top, because the scalp is not being cared for either.
Wow, that
Mhm.
is amazing.
I
Because
know.
my daughters, they get braids all the time,
Mhm.
with the synthetic hair, and so that's a great tip. I was actually speaking with my hair lady the other day.
Mhm. Mhm.
One of the things I try to get when before I even get my sew in, or like in between, or whenever I just go to her, I get my hair, a scalp treatment, getting washed, conditioned, and that kind of thing.
Yes, good,
And I
good.
was asking her, like, what are some tips for hair growth? And she basically gave me a lot of tips. Like, one of the tips, and you tell me what you think about this.
Mhm.
So she said she worked out a lot. So because she works out a lot, her
Mhm.
scalp, I guess, is being moisturized in some kind of way through sweat. I don't know. But she said I work out a lot. So that keeps my hair, I guess, moisturized. What do you think?
Well, when we think of moisture, I think that when it comes to sweating, the hair does and the scalp does become more hydrated. So,
Mm,
yes, I can see where there would be hydration, but what's most important for me when it comes to sweating are the salt deposits that are placed on the hair strand and the scalp,
okay.
right? So if you've ever gone to the beach and you've gotten in the ocean, once you dry, you know that cast of salt that's placed
Hmm.
on our skin. So that's what's placed on the scalp after we dry, or after we
Mm,
calm down after our exercising, right?
wow.
So what happens is, if we don't remove that, kind of quickly or immediately, like that night, then it just lays there, and then it it's
Wow.
encrustated, and then it becomes harder and drier. If you sweat at night, then it's kind of like you're just reactivating and placing it on top. So
Wow.
the best thing about that is um, to remove that as much as possible. So like sometimes clients that exercise a lot, they may go through a rinsing where they
Mhm.
rinse their hair out, and that's great,
Right.
but you just make sure you dry it, because if we leave it wet, then now we leave an environment for bacteria, because we're leaving
Mm,
it wet, it's dark, we're about to go to sleep, you put a bonnet on,
mhm.
or that, and then that'll debunk that myth about leaving the conditioner on overnight because it helps more. Well, it doesn't, because if the hair stays wet for a very long time, it's in its weakest form. And so being in the weakest form for a very long time is not, healthy, because we can
Right.
cause more damage. So yeah, the main important thing about that one more so would be those salt deposits, and really ridding the hair um of that, to make sure there's no dryness that takes place. But I
Right.
could definitely see where the hydration would come in at.
Yeah. Because we was having a whole conversation about that, and she was like, "Have you noticed?" Because she said her hair was longer, like really, really long, and she lived
Hmm.
in Texas,
Hmm.
Dallas, Texas, because
Oh,
it's the beach or the ocean is right there. So
hmm.
she was like, in Texas, my hair was so long because I guess the humidity in the air.
Hmm.
And she said both of her daughters like hair was long because of that. And she just got me thinking. I'm like,
Yeah, I'm
but yeah.
telling you, those factors, even the foods, we have to be
Hmm.
careful too, because well water, like we don't know with testing the water. I can definitely see where she's coming from with that. I've had other people tell me that once they've got here, that may have
Hmm.
come from even different countries, because of our foods and the chemicals that we use, and
Right.
our things not being as natural, they have
Mm.
experienced those issues. So yeah.
Oh wow. Because it's dry. Would you consider us like Charlotte being like a dry? Our hair is like
Yes, yes. So like
okay.
now, like during the summertime, I'm
Mhm.
fighting the humidity, because it's not, we have humid, but we have a dry humid. We never have
Mm,
a
wow.
moisture humid, right?
Right.
So we're fighting that with the dryness. Then during the wintertime, we're fighting dryness through cold air, through hot air,
Hmm.
because now we got artificial heat. And then nobody's drinking water. Nobody drinks water when it's cold.
Right. You're
So
right.
now we have all
Mhm.
these external factors that are drying us out, our hair and our scalp. And now, oh, and don't forget the cold medicine. The cold
Mhm.
medicine goes up, allergies go up, and
Mm.
allergies, people do not realize allergies, if I'm
Mhm.
not mistaken, they're at the top 10 when it comes to hair loss, because
Wow.
it's a medication. It's in there with medicine.
Mhm.
And some people take allergy medicine religiously. Like they gotta have it, Claritin, and so they
Wow.
can breathe and things like that. So just think about it, like we're not detoxing the scalp, like that's coming out of our pores and out of our skin. And a lot of times we think the scalp is different from the skin, and it's not. But you
Right.
just can't use the same exact things because it has so much more hair on it. But we
Mhm.
have to look at that scalp like the skin on our body and care for it. It's just that you have to distinguish the two when it comes to like products, because of the hair.
Mhm. Yeah, and another thing I would say, because now they're saying is blood. What is it? You do blowouts.
Yes. Hmm.
Okay, so they say now is blowout season
Yep.
because it's getting cold.
Right. And then they don't have to worry about the heat and it reverting back. So
Mhm.
the blowouts last a little bit longer. Yep. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So is it true that you know like how a person eats, like but just by looking at their hair? Like how they
Yes.
eat, like they eat healthy.
Yes, I know
Really?
how they eat. I know how much water they drink. I also know how much rest you're receiving. Because if you have a tighter scalp, when I go into massage and I can't hardly move your scalp and it's tight, that lets me know that the muscles in the head are not
Mhm.
relaxed. You're tense a lot. So I'll ask things like, tell me about your jaw. Like, do you wear I was at high tense, or you work locally, and then they'll go into it, and I can kind of get what type of job. And I'm like, I'll let them know. Um, and it's so funny you asked me that, because this is how this is the very thing that piqued my interest when it came to hair. I was introduced to that in the 7th grade.
Oh,
My
wow.
mom and I had found a cosmetologist, and when we first walked in, I didn't know that's what it was called, but she was doing a consultation with my mom,
Oh,
and
wow.
she did that to my mom's scalp, and it didn't move. And she was like, she was like, so you don't get a lot of rest, do you? My mom
Wow.
said, how you know that? She said, I can tell because your scalp, it's really tense. I
Mhm.
can't move your scalp. And so,
Wow.
yeah. Yeah. And so then when it comes to the different foods, I can like the feel of the hair,
Mhm.
it just lacks moisture. It lacks, it's not soft to the touch. It's really, fraily light. You can just tell it's almost like a plant. Like when the plant is
Mm.
beginning to wither and it needs nutrients, the
Mhm.
hair does the same exact things.
Wow.
Hmm.
Interesting. Okay. So tell us about your program, because I know you do hair. You
Hmm.
specialize in natural hair. Can you tell us a little bit more about what you specialize in?
Yes. So I do specialize in natural hair, scalp treatments, scalp diseases and disorders, and hair loss. So I have hair loss, regrowth, protocols and packages that clients can, or well, when you have two sides. I have my cosmetology side and I have the trichology side. So if I'm your hair loss client, then the packages that I offer, because we need to begin a partnership. And so that is the more like medical science side to it. And so we see each other for at the minimum of 90 days, because it's more detailed. There are more steps and marks that we have to reach and look at, because we're evaluating and analyzing the entire time. So we stay together for 90 plus days, but it within that program, of course, the hair loss kit, products to help grow the hair, because I share with clients that even though it's very important what we do together, most of the time I can only see you, the most I can see you is once a week, and that's good,
Right.
because I'm able to touch you more, but what you do when you're not with me is most important. And so
Right.
providing that support. Now, I'm not a nutritionist, but because I'm a trichologist and I study the holistic side of it, then I offer suggestions, and then I help people, because a lot of times it's our mindset more so. So I try to get them to focus on the cup half full and not half empty. So I don't eat a lot of vegetables. Well, tell me the vegetables that you do eat. So let's just start
Right.
right there, because it's baby steps with things. And then
Right.
you have to meet people where they are. And that's why people think things are so hard and difficult, because we make it hard and difficult. And I was blessed to be put in the path of instructors that made it easy for me. So when they presented it easy, I didn't look at it like a hard task. And so that's built inside that program as well, because the psychology part of it, the mindset is the most important part when it comes to the hair loss. So I want to make sure that they have that support while going through the process. And so of course we have the treatments, because the treatments is going to give us the physical,
Right.
because even though I'm not a magician, I also understand that you want to see results.
Right.
So I need to
That's
do
right.
everything possible to see results, but I'm not gonna offer number one anything that I can't do, and then I'm
Right.
not going to. I like to under promise and over deliver.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't want to give guarantees on things that may not be guaranteed, but I do want to. I tell them what has worked for me in the past when it comes to this particular hair loss. Now, let's say
Right.
on the flip side, well, Carmelita, I really don't have hair loss, but I still want my hair to grow. Then we can
Right.
still talk. We can still
Right.
talk. So on the cosmetology side, it's the same concept, and I tell people you just get both. Like I don't just
Mhm.
shut the trichologist side because it goes
Right.
together, but you're just gonna get
Right.
just a little bit of both. It's just that you may not enter into the program in the more extensive programs, but we're still gonna talk about what we're eating. We're still gonna talk about the vitamins. I still have options for you to purchase vitamins so that you can just be doing the healthy hair. And then because like
Right.
clients like to ask, well, why? They'll see the hair loss packets and then, well, why can't I get that
Right.
kit? Well, it's not that you can't get it, but some of
Right.
those kits are specially formatted for hair loss. So if you don't have that particular hair loss, then we will use these products. So they get a bit of both. It's just that for business purposes, I have them separated with the packages.
Okay. You know what? As you were talking, a couple of things came to mind, but I had a question as it relates. Well, not a question, just a statement.
Hmm.
The lady that goes to my church, she says she get her hair washed and like blow dry every 3 to 5 days. 3 to 5 days. People get blowouts and treatments every week.
Treatments, yes. I
Okay.
haven't had clients to get blowouts weekly. Now
Okay.
that was a thing. To be honest with you, that was a thing like kind of like back in the day. Now I
Hmm.
do know people who are like more natural. They may or like just don't touch their hair. They may come
Hmm.
weekly. I haven't experienced it. I haven't experienced that. Now with treatments, I have because we're
Okay.
kind of like the focus is the scalp or something like that, and
Hmm.
especially if it's like really severe psoriasis and things like that.
Hmm.
But the actual like blowout, I have
Hmm.
not experienced that one.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that.
that's what she. Her hair is beautiful like yours,
Mhm, mhm,
but and she
mhm,
got braids. I saw her at church. I said, "You got braids?" She was like, "Yeah, and I can get treatments to my scalp with the braids because that's what she really care about is her scalp." But she
mhm,
has
mhm.
beautiful. You can tell every time I see her, she has a blowout.
Wow. And then you know what?
But
She
it's
may have
beautiful
the
hair.
right,
Yeah,
right.
she said 55.
And her stylist, her
Yeah.
technician, that they are definitely professional and feeding their hair. And that's what I tell clients too. That's another thing, like with heat damage, right? So heat
Hmm.
damage, you said she gets a blowout every week. So she does not have any
I
heat
think
damage. Right, but
right.
she doesn't
I
have
don't know
heat
if it's a
damage now.
blowout. You just
Mhm.
said she got to wash her hair every 3 to 5 days. Three to
And
five.
got you, got you. And some people do too, because with the oil that's produced from the scalp, it may really weigh the hair down and like she may have overly productive oil glands or sebaceous glands, and so that is a thing. But also, even with blowing it out, I tell people if you're going to someone that cares for the hair, then those professional products,
Right.
the amount of heat being used on the blow dry, like it's definitely possible to do
Right.
that without damaging the hair. Where the
Ooh.
heat damage comes in is where we're incorrectly applying heat. So like placing that flat iron all the way up to 500, 450, the highest it goes every time, where we're like ironing and what we call passes
Mhm.
multiple times, blow dryer hot, and even not protected with a concentrator. A lot of
Mhm.
times we'll blow dry the hair wide open with no protection. So those things are the things that will cause the heat damage. And honestly, if it's heat damage, it's not attached to you anymore. It will fall off.
Mhm.
A lot of times you see heat memory, where you
Right.
may see wavy, wavy, straight, wavy, wavy. This part in the mid strand has been manipulated more with the heat, and the memory has stayed there because our hair has memory bonds. And the way we do revert it back is through treatment because it's lacking something, and we refill it with treatment, which are the things that the hair need: protein, moisture, and you do it on a cycle and a consistent basis. And then you can also manipulate, because hair has memory. We will
Mhm.
go into more natural styles that will put that curl pattern back. So
Yeah.
that's how you revert it back. But when it's
Wow.
damaged, it's gone. It's leaving, like it's about to fry. It's fried off, like it's gone.
Wow. Interesting.
Mhm.
So I get mixed reviews with this now. They say it's better
Mhm.
to cut when wet, or is it better to cut when it's dry?
So for me, because I come from the school part when it comes to cutting, I'll tell you this, when we're teaching beginners, we start off teaching them wet because it's
Okay.
easier for them to, when it comes to the strength of their hands and holding there. And
Right.
then once they have developed and they're getting their flow of things, then I allow them to, because now they've seen us cut wet and dry. Now I allow them to choose. However, the only time that we need to like distinguish which time to cut is really when we have textured hair. So, like if there's a curl pattern to the hair,
Okay.
you have to really be careful when cutting it wet or cutting it in its natural style, how it falls, because you have to consider when it's dry and straight, it may
Right.
not fall like it's going to fall when you're cutting it wet.
Right.
So
Right.
it's not really a like, no, no, yes, yes. It's more of the
Right.
preference of the client. And then
Right.
it's really important based on the texture of the hair.
Okay. So I do want to say that you are an amazing speaker. I did not even know, girl, you can speak. I saw your reel. I was like, oh my gosh. Because I know you're like, look, my perception about you completely changed because I thought you
Oh,
were
thank
quiet, like
you.
really quiet, but sweet spirit, which you are, but I don't think you're like shy, like, because people don't think I'm shy,
Right, right.
which I grew up, that's how I was shy. I am kind of still shy,
Mhm,
depending
mhm.
on the environment.
Right,
But yeah, when
right.
I saw you, I was like, oh my gosh, you are very like powerful with speaking. Did you take speaking classes or anything like that?
No. No, not at all. Like I think I need help with speaking.
Oh
But
no,
I
you
think,
don't.
well, I appreciate it. Thank you. Yes, well, I was
No,
like,
you
I
don't.
need help.
No, girl, when I tell you, oh my gosh,
Because it
that
feels
is a
like
gift.
my
Now I
nerves take
see it's a
over.
gift. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So some people were chatting into the I know Fabiana, she's natural. She said she deal with hair loss from one or three things from her doctor says COVID, menopause, or loss of my like stress. So she's
Mhm.
starting to
Okay.
lock her hair. Is that a good choice?
So, yes, locking the
Mhm.
hair is a good choice. You just want to make sure that your technician is doing it correctly, because the only time I've seen issues is where it's the tension again, where we're doing it incorrectly. We have to remember that tight is not always right. We come from our culturally, we come from slick it, slide it, but in this case, because of all of that improper technique and application, now unfortunately we're having issues with thinning and things like that. So tension, even the weight, I've had people come to me with lots because once it gets to a certain length, that
Mhm.
weight pulls on the hair, which causes more thinning. So just keep in mind, and they are beautiful. They're when they're long and things like that. But just be careful, because if you have a heavy density or thick hair,
Mhm.
once it gets a certain length, then the pulling and the weight, and even people having tension on their neck and really bad headaches from that weight have been issues. So it's making sure you have the correct or a good technician. That's the main goal. But as a style, as a whole, they're wonderful. They're beautiful.
Okay. So I'm gonna ask one last question because I know I got a lot of questions.
Yeah, you're
So
fine.
the next question, the last question is, so I hear people say that they don't like my daughter, she has really long, like beautiful hair. Like it's
Hmm.
natural though.
Hmm. Hmm.
But she was just saying how, you really don't have to use shampoo. She just uses water on her.
Hmm.
What is your take on people just using water on their hair like on a regular basis? I think she said she water her hair like a plant like every single day.
Hmm.
Versus shampooing. Like she does shampoo it, but not all the time. What do you think?
Well, with rinsing of the hair, there's no issue. I don't think that's really an issue with that. Now, I can see with the rinsing, like I was telling you, I have some clients that work out, and they will go through and do a rinsing of the hair because they just kind of want to get um I guess the sweat and things off. But when we don't mix a cleansing agent with it,
Mm-hmm.
that's where we can still create an environment, unfortunately, that we don't want. So
Mm-hmm.
as long if we're rinsing, I I'm not sure about like on a daily basis,
Right.
but you definitely want to add in a cleansing agent because that's the whole point of that shampoo. We want to remove dirt,
Mm-hmm.
oil, debris, and create environments that are cleansed for growing. How
Right.
often people do it, it really depends on, like I was telling you, their hair texture, and then also if they are excessively oily, because
Mm-hmm.
that can cause like really limp and dry hair. So I understand, they may be using it, but even a dry shampoo, there's dry shampoos. It's not really popular
Oh,
in the Black culture,
right.
but it's popular in the Black culture when it comes to like our elderly. But
Mm-hmm.
dry shampoos, they're not harming or drying to the hair. It's
Mm-hmm.
just the fact that because they still suds up. Because like when I was like, I
Oh,
don't understand how they were gonna put just like dry, but
right.
no, it really does suds up. You don't have to add.
Right.
Yep, it'll foam up, and the way you remove the dirt is
Mm-hmm.
you take like a towel or you use something to actually cleanse the scalp and go through, or pull and tug on the hair to remove oil and product, right? So
Wow.
they're great for our bedridden clients and they're great for children. I
Mm.
know a stylist who used it for her child because
Mm-hmm.
her child would get more sick. Like right now, when it's cold, trying to wet the child's hair, even if you keep them in the house and things like that, it just wasn't the best thing for her because she would
Right.
stay, sick and full of cold. So she would use the dry shampoos during the winter months to not put as much water on her daughter's scalp and hair, but to still cleanse it. Me and the client were talking about that last week because her mom wanted to use something, and we were talking about the dry shampoo. So yeah, that's definitely an option when you want to cleanse and may not want to wet it every single time.
Well, that's the thing. I have a bottle of dry shampoo that I've had at least a year. I don't know how to use it. Like, you put it on your hair, but how do you get it out? Like you,
Right.
because it's a spray. Like it's like,
Uh-huh.
how do you get the shampoo out? Do you rinse it out, or you just leave it in? Or
Yeah, they're supposed to. Well, that's great. So they don't tell you like the directions on the bag.
I didn't even read it, girl.
Oh, okay, okay. Yeah, they're probably gonna tell you like you would just probably wipe it out, but you
Okay.
wouldn't have to. You wouldn't have to wet it. That's what it should.
Wow.
Look, that's what it should say.
Oh my gosh, that is
Yeah,
interesting.
yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't think I would probably still use it because I guess I'm doubting the shampoo being in my
Right,
head
right.
and getting it and making sure it's coming out.
Completely out. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't think I would still use it, even though you just told me. I mean, how confident is like somebody wiping out the shampoo? Do they have to let it sit,
Hmm,
and then
hmm.
it just foams up and then you wipe?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. You can kind of see it. I think even she would still go through and kind of dry her hair because of
Okay.
it foaming up. It still gave like a little dampness to the hair, so she would
Mhm.
still go through and kind of dry it. But I think you can really see like it kind of
Okay.
evaporating away, out of the
Oh,
hair and scalp.
wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think
And she would
somebody
use a white towel when she would go in because
oh,
she
so
could.
she can see it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Interesting. All right. So Esther said she have twin 2 year olds and washing their hair is hard. What are the best dry shampoos for kids?
So that is a good question. So I don't have like a list. I can come back and put like maybe some links in the
Okay.
comments once we're done because I don't have any like off the top of my head. I
Okay.
haven't used dry shampoo as often. I've used it before in the past, but I can definitely look up some for children. They may not be. I'm sure they do have some specific for children as well. But yeah, to let her know, I will
Okay.
come back in the comments
Okay.
and give some options for her to be able to purchase. But yeah, that's no problem. I just don't know any, like right off the top of my
Yeah. Yeah. So Esther, she's gonna post come back.
head. Mm-hmm.
Do that. Okay,
Yep, I'm gonna make
awesome.
a note.
All right, but Carmelita will be at our Friendsgiving on Saturday, November the 2nd, and she is going to be a speaker speaking about hair growth tips for you all. So make sure you grab your ticket. It's on sale right now, 2 for 1. The link is actually on this video. 2 for 1. Let's see. Yes. So I'm so excited that you all came on. Did you want to share anything before we leave, Carmelita?
No, if anyone needs like to contact me or
Okay.
anything, you can reach me at Hair Rehab. So on all of the social medias, if you
Okay.
search Hair Rehab Studio, that
Okay.
is my handle on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. And what I'll do again, I'll leave those links in the comments for you to be able to
Okay.
reach me along with my email. Email is hairrehabstudio@gmail.com if you have questions or need to reach out.
Okay. Awesome. 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 Well, thank you again for joining us
Yes, thank
tonight.
you for having
And
me.
thank, of course, girl. When I saw that, I was like, this girl is a firehouse speaker. Look, and you know your stuff. I know you know your stuff, you know.
Yeah,
So, but
yes,
yeah,
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
I'm so excited. Okay. All right. Well, thank you again for coming on, and I'll see you on Saturday.
All right, see you then. Have a good one.